All right, let's talk about some investment strategy. So some of you guys know a huge part of our investment strategy is to build equity into our investment properties by doing large renovations, a lot of which I do myself. So rather than using our own personal money to fund these renovations, we tend to deal with, in the past at least, we tend to have dealt with a lot of private lenders. The problem with private lenders is that you're going to be paying a lot of administration fees and lawyer fees, and you're pretty much guaranteed to have a really high interest rate, something like 10% or maybe 12%. So that tends to eat into a large chunk of your profits. In the future, we want to get away from doing that. It's time to get a little more sophisticated with our investment strategy. So we know that we have a large amount of equity built up in this house that we live in. We want to access that equity and use that equity to fund any future renovations on any future projects.
Yeah, what we're working on right now is a refinance, and we're going to get a home equity line of credit on our primary residence. We are going to get our house appraised, and then we're actually going to withdraw the equity that is in our home and use that money to fund our next flip. And when we sell our next flip, we're going to take our profits and pay off that home equity line of credit. And it's super beneficial because we're not going to need to keep requalifying to have access to this line of credit. It's actually considered to be revolving credit. So it's super efficient, and it's a great way that we can keep using this, access to capital again and again for future deals. And something Marty didn't mention earlier is a reason why we were working with private lenders and borrowing their money is because we didn't have any money. You left that part out.
It's not exactly true. Actually, a better way of putting it is we don't really keep a whole lot of money laying around in liquid form, because if we have a whole bunch of money, we tend to invest it in another property.
Yeah, cash, we didn't have cash.
So we tend to keep a small amount of money, just enough to keep us comfortable, in case of an emergency or anything like that. For the most part, we don't keep $60,000 or $80,000 in our bank account available at all times. So just because we want to keep it invested.
Yeah.
So this is a way you can keep your equity invested, but also have it accessible to use on a renovation or whatever you want to use it for.
And accessing private money is a great way for beginners to get started. And this was really helpful earlier into our career. So it certainly has a place if you are getting going as a new investor. But there also becomes a point where you can start doing business with yourself and using your own equity and accessing your own funds. And it's a lot more efficient, it's a lot cheaper, and it's a lot more just simple.
One of the benefits of using private funds is you're probably going to get approved to borrow that money. You don't really need to have perfect credit, even though we tend to have really good credit. Yeah. But even if you don't, you're probably going to be able to get a loan from a private lender anyways, as long as you can show that you do pay your bills on time. But that's why you end up paying such a high rate. It's considered higher risk, so you pay a higher rate. So there are benefits to private lenders, but it's long overdue that we stopped using private lenders to fund all these renovations. We've got equity in multiple properties. We need to start using that equity a little more wisely, and we'll be looking at a much, much lower interest rate. So instead of 10 to 12%, we're looking at like 2.5% to 3% interest, and really only administration fees just to initially activate that line of credit. And then after that, it's like Amanda said, it's revolving, so we can use it over and over and over. As long as we use it, pay it off, use it, pay it off. We don't need to pay any additional administrative fees as we use it in the future. Before we get a home equity line of credit, we need to get an appraiser into our house. It's way past due that we actually do some work on this house. We've been here, 8.5 years now?
And to just cut to the chase, our home house, it kind of looks like shit. It was a little ratty around the edges.
It looked okay when we moved in, but we've never painted.
Our walls are bare. We haven't done any decorating whatsoever. Yeah. We've just been busy, investing into our portfolio, and that we've seriously neglected our primary residence.
To start off, we actually had a bunch of brass doorknobs and hinges, which is completely outdated. It's from the mid-90s. But this house was built in 2004, so it's kind of strange that there was brass knobs on all the doors. So we've replaced all those with more lever style knobs with a brushed nickel finish. All the hinges replaced as well. So take a look at what we did. We painted all the doors with nice bright white, painted all the trim with white semi-gloss paint. Yeah,
and it was less than $1,000 is what we spent here. So
yeah, it was less than I think it was less than $400.
Well, I went and did a little bit of shopping, bought some new towels. And, you know, a piece of artwork and that one pair of shoes to really highlight how nice my closet is.
That's one thing. This is news to me, but you'll have to ask Amanda about this because I had no idea that buying new shoes and a new jacket and what, did you get a new purse as well?
That old thing, I've had it for years. Come on.
Apparently,
shoes.
That's going to add value to this house as well. I'm just a carpenter, though. What do I know, right?
I will model them for you later, and then you'll understand.
Anyhow.
So after a few simple touch-ups and freshening up our house for less than $1,000, wish us luck on the appraisal, and we hope that it comes in as high as possible.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys found it informative and useful.
We will update you again soon. See ya.
Bye, guys.